Midnight Facts for Insomniacs. I just learned something. Oh, I'm having fun now.
You know how you can will yourself to live? Like people can just, I think I could will myself to die. I would, give me 2 whips with that flagellum and I would perish.
You're out. You're like, hold on.
Yeah, I certainly would want to.
Yeah.
Just end this.
This sounds bad.
Duncan, I learn a lot from these episodes.
Uh-oh.
And not always just from my research, not just from what I put into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes from the listeners and fans.
Oh boy.
We get a lot back.
Okay, I'm always terrified when you start episodes with the Barney voice. The Barney voice scares Monkey. Don't do that.
Well, here's something I learned from a few of the Insomniacs after our previous episode.
Okay.
Snakes can swim.
Yes. We did. We know this. What? Huh?
Last episode, I busted out with most snakes can't swim, which is just something that I desire to be true.
Yes. Yes.
I always thought I could take refuge in a stream or a river or some type of body of water, but no. And they're pretty fast, too.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
they are. They move.
This is why I shouldn't be doing this podcast. I don't like facts.
You don't.
I like...
You're like, yay, ignorance.
I like my beliefs.
Yes.
I like the things that I've spent much of my life convincing myself of.
Clinging to like a life raft. Yes, I'm aware.
So in the future, Insomniacs, feel free to send all corrections to Duncan at Gmail or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
What is it?
Duncan M. McEwen at Gmail. Yes.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let him know that stuff. And then I feel like I can filter it through you.
Yes.
And this isn't a good plan.
No, I'm going to tell you, and it's going to be gleeful.
You'll be more excited
Yes.
to get information that will torment me. Okay.
Yeah.
On to today's episode.
Okay.
So if you remember, last episode, I called an audible.
Yep.
I improvised because we had done episodes on most of the big holidays, but we had neglected the Irish.
Yes.
And so we had to put everything on hold and do an emergency St. Patrick's Day episode.
Right.
Which meant that I had to put off the topic that I had been looking forward to
Yep.
and instead do it this week. So about that.
Why do I feel like this is still not going to be the fucking episode? I have that feeling.
I am still very excited about the episode that won the poll. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Someday.
We will get to it this year.
I think
Probably.
these are lies. These are lies.
No, it'll be next.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I feel like in the interest of equality, we can't just pick and choose holidays, and there is another holiday coming up. Let's talk, Duncan, about Easter.
Oh, no. Not Easter. Okay. Here
Why
we
that
go.
reaction? What do you...
I love chocolate, but I don't care otherwise.
Chocolate and bunnies sound good. It seems like what else do you object to?
It's the religious overtones.
The happiness, the fact that
the
people...
joy.
It brings people joy.
Yeah, don't like it. Screaming happy children, they're just, ugh.
Is there an Easter Grinch?
Yes.
That is you.
Monkey. Monkey is Easter Grinch.
Well, you mentioned religion. Let's do our little standard disclaimer here.
Yep.
Neither of us is religious. We respect everyone's beliefs. We do, however, find some of those beliefs to be very funny.
And a little goofy. Yes.
And so we will be mocking some sensitive subjects today.
Yes.
And I want to once again emphasize, no disrespect is intended. And also, you don't have to listen to this episode. If you're the kind of person who likes to send angry emails to podcasters, you definitely don't have to listen to this episode. What would Jesus do?
Not listen to this podcast.
He would join our Patreon.
That's true.
So let's find out how much you actually know about Easter. We love these pop quizzes because
we love them.
they start us off on the right foot. I know stuff you don't. I have researched and you are ignorant.
Yay.
And then I get to feel good about myself.
Yes. So here we go into the build up Shane's ego section of the show. What do I know about Easter? I know that it was the birth of Jeebus or the death of Jeebus. It was one of the two. No, birth was Christmas. So it's going to be the death of Jeebus.
Yeah.
And the resurrection of Jeebus.
Yes.
And then it has to do with bunnies and chocolate and all that stuff because fertility, something. I mostly stole all of that from Eddie Izzard. I don't actually know anything about that.
Are you done?
Save me.
Are you? I'm just enjoying watching you flounder. What I was hoping you were going to say is that Easter is a pagan holiday that a bunch of Christians took and stole and made it their own thing.
Right.
Because then I could be like, you are wrong. So that's not actually what happened. That's what I thought that happened, and we will get to it.
Okay.
But Easter is not really like Christmas, one of those holidays that the Christians just snagged and then said, mine,
Yes.
and then like messed with. It's more a holiday that already belonged to Christianity and then was sort of evolved and infiltrated by rapidly procreating rabbits,
Wabbits.
essentially.
Yes.
So all of this took place in Judea, which is modern-day Israel and the West Bank area. At the time, it was under Roman occupation and being administered by a Roman named Pontius Pilate.
Okay.
I was always confused by this name because it's spelled like Pilates, Pilate, but it's Pontius Pilate.
Sure.
And now below him, there was a council of local Jewish leaders called the Sanhedrin.
Sanhedrin. Got it.
So this is going to upset some people. So Christians, just hold your, la, 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 fingers in your ears.
Yeah.
I think it would be fair to say that at the time, the Romans and the Jewish leaders in that area felt that Jesus was starting a very successful cult.
Yes.
Jesus was a victim of his own success.
Yes.
He was a very good either prophet or cult leader, depending on your viewpoint.
Exactly. Influencer either way.
He had a lot of followers. So yes, he was an influencer. Absolutely. Different meaning for followers. It wasn't just people clicking like. It was people who really liked him.
Yes.
In IRL.
IRL. Okay. We have a few of those. Are we, Jesus?
Oh, Jesus. We're in trouble.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ.
This is bad.
Yay.
So Jesus eventually was betrayed. I'm sure you remember this part of the story.
Yes. 30 pieces of silver. Judas guy. Not nice.
Now, Jesus was arrested by the Jewish council. And the problem that they ran into was, they didn't have a lot of power anymore and authority. The Romans were running the place.
Right.
So they had to take Jesus in front of Pontius Pilate. The other issue is that blasphemy was not punishable by death under Roman law. You could say whatever you want about Roman gods, really. Just don't, threaten to overthrow the government.
Right.
Crucifixion, at the time, that was a Roman punishment, but only for sedition. So the Bible says that when the Jewish council, they brought Jesus before Pontius Pilate, they sort of conveniently changed the charges. And they claimed that Jesus had been committing sedition by proclaiming himself the King of the Jews.
That's bad.
Which I don't think Jesus actually did. He was not that kind of dude.
Yeah.
He was not about the king life.
No.
So the next thing that happened with Jesus, after he was convicted, he was scourged.
Ooh.
Do you know what that is?
Scourging? Yes. That's when they beat you with stuff.
Yeah, scourged, that.
Yes.
He was whipped with a flagellum.
Flagellation device.
This is a short whip with multiple leather thongs. These are not the footwear thongs.
No.
And also not the fun kind of thongs.
Yes, the booty thongs.
I would not mind being whipped by that type of thong.
I have been beaten with those. It's nice.
That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
This, though, very different.
You have no pain. Hurty pains.
Well, these thongs often had pieces of bone or metal or even lead balls woven into or attached to the ends of them. And the victim was usually stripped and then tied to a post or pillar. And the flagellum often tore the skin and even the underlying muscle tissue. It could expose bone. It could get that far down.
God damn.
Roman scourging was deliberately designed to weaken the victim to the point that crucifixion would proceed faster. So they were kind of doing you a solid.
You're tenderizing the meat before you cook it.
Yeah, it's like this will make the whole thing a little bit more speedy. That benefits everyone.
Sure. No one wants to spend all day watching a dude on a cross. You got things to do.
Some victims even died just from the scourging.
Cool.
I would prefer that, actually.
Yeah. I mean, you say that, and then the beating starts, and you're like, nope, time out, put me on the cross, let's go.
No, the cross, way worse.
Really? Okay.
Oh, man.
All right.
We get there. No, I want to die after the first two hits. You know how you can will yourself to live? People can just, I think I could will myself to die. I would give me 2 whips with that flagellum and I would perish.
You're out. You're like, hold on.
Yeah, I certainly would want to.
Yeah.
Just end this.
This sounds bad.
So after being scourged, Jesus was then forced to carry the cross.
Which is a dick move.
On his back. Yeah, that is rude.
Yeah. Here,
Insult
we're going to kill you on this. Now you carry it. You don't make people wander around with the electric chair. Just trap them in it, fucking move.
I know.
It's fucking mean.
So he had to carry the cross all the way up to Golgotha, or the place of the skull, outside Jerusalem. And then he was crucified up there alongside two criminals. And have you heard about these criminals?
Thieves, as I recall. Yeah.
Well, no one really knows.
Ah.
These criminals, though, they're a little bit like the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your other shoulder, because one of them supposedly like immediately insulted Jesus, and then the other one told that guy to shut the hell up and kind of ingratiated himself. He apologized and he asked Jesus to remember him for being, nice.
See, I just stopped that guy from yelling at you while we're all dying. So be nice to me because I'm nice. Yeah, then okay, sure.
It's weird to me that like doing a good thing in hopes of getting a good thing is considered a good thing in Christianity.
Yeah.
Because Jesus was receptive to this. He was like, yes, I shall remember you and you will join me in paradise or whatever. And it's like, but it seems like he was probably up there for a reason. You typically don't end up on a cross.
Because you're a good dude.
Yeah.
Although this story to the contrary. Right. Still, sure.
But historically, I think people did things to end up where they were.
Yeah.
And he might not have been a believer, but it's like at that point, everyone's a believer in a foxhole or whatever.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. That's not the saying, but I get it. Yeah.
Well, there was no reason not to try.
Yeah.
He looked over and he was like, here's my chance.
Nice.
Redeem me, bro. So in Christian tradition, those two criminals are referred to as Dismas, the penitent one, and Gestus, the unrepentant one. I would have gone with the opportunistic one and the dumbass. But that's just me.
Yeah. The ass kisser and the asshole. Yep.
Now, it was against the law at the time to leave bodies up on this hill and exposed on the Sabbath. That would be on the Saturday. You can't have like evidence of your torture and crimes against humanity just exposed on a hillside on the Lord's Day.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's all wrong.
He doesn't want to see what you did in his name.
Right.
So one of the ways that crucifiers would ensure that the victim had actually passed away in time was, and this is very weird and creative, honestly, this was a form of asphyxiation during crucifixion. You could achieve this by breaking someone's legs.
Oh, so they couldn't hold themselves up.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
Specifically, you're breaking the shin bones. Which I hate that sentence, everything about it. This is a process known as crurifragium.
Sure. That's how you say that, definitely.
That word is appropriately torturous. I hate that word as much as I hate the idea of having my shins broken.
Fair.
So people who are crucified, as you kind of mentioned, they'll try to use their leg muscles to like hold themselves up so that their lungs can inflate.
Right.
And if your body collapses and you're just being held up by just your palms, you can't really breathe.
Right.
And so if you break someone's shins, then they can no longer hold themselves up. This is so horrific.
It's so all kinds of naughty, bad, no good.
Oh, it's, but they're trying to make it end faster. So it's merciful. Really.
Just like the flagellation. Just all kinds of mercy here on this cross.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
Well, Jesus mercifully passed away before he had his legs broken, so good on him.
Nice.
This was confirmed by one of the soldiers. So when they came to break his legs, and according to the Gospel of John 19:34, quote, one of the soldiers with a spear, or a lancea, opened his side, and immediately there came out much blood and water.
Water. Okay.
This is a thing they would do to verify that someone was alive, was poke them with a spear. You could have asked, but...
Hey, bro, you alive? Nah, he dead.
I think a lot of people at that point would fake it because they didn't want to get their legs broken. So,
right.
But if you, shoved him with a spear, then that was effective.
Yeah, I mean, you could also just tickled him. Like, you don't got to poke him with a fucking spear, bro. That's just mean.
The worst thing to me is that, like, enough people had been crucified at this point that they had come up with best practices.
Yeah.
Like the breaking of the shins, the poking of the side. They had all these...
They had SOPs. That's not good. It's not.
Protocols.
Yeah.
Humans are the worst.
Yes. Fuck humans.
So incidentally, that spear that was used to puncture Jesus' side, and this is why, by the way, you always see like blood dripping down on some of the more graphic depictions.
The what are those called? The cruciform crossity things in the church. Yeah, there's always a bleedy side on his right.
Sometimes, sometimes they go full Eli Roth It's hostile level. It is hostile for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I feel that there is hostility being directed at me when I have to see a tortured human in a place of worship.
Yes.
Anyway, the spear that was used to puncture Jesus' side, this would become known as the Holy Lance or the Spear of Destiny.
Yes. Which comes into the play in many movies.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I kind of love that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Now, you seemed kind of surprised at the water.
No, I'm pretty sure that's fluid in the lungs.
Yeah, so modern medical experts, they will tell you that the flow of, quote, blood and water, it was likely blood and pleural or a pericardial fluid from a heart or lung puncture, and that indicated that death had already occurred. Or, I guess, would have occurred shortly after a lung or heart puncture.
With a spear.
Yeah. I don't know why they needed to break the legs when they had this whole spear strategy going on. I feel like the checking to see if he was dead was sufficient to make him also dead.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of overkill, if I can just go so far as to say.
Is this guy dead? I don't know. Stab him in the heart. Then we'll know.
Then we'll know for sure.
But if he's not dead after we've stabbed him in the heart, break his legs.
I
don't get it.
No, bro. Just love being the one fucking Roman legionary. It's like, bro, dude, no, I gotta go puke. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know if this was like a really rough job or if they got people who were kind of into this, you know?
Yeah, I think you're definitely hiring for sociopathy. You're looking for that on the resume.
And do you choose people who are good at the breaking of the legs and they do it like efficiently and quickly? Or do you just ask for volunteers and let the kids have like a piñata? Just hand them a stick.
Come here, Seth. You like spears?
Go for it.
Have at it.
These were 100% public executions.
Yep.
Anyone could see this. So Jesus was buried in a tomb provided by Joseph of Arimathea. I don't know why I included that. Now, do you know on what day of the week the crucifixion happened?
No, but I'm assuming it would be a Friday because Saturday can't be hanging around.
It was the Friday known now among Christians as Good Friday.
Why? There seems to be none good happening.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
That's a choice.
Yeah, that's a way to go.
One theory is that good, the word good in this context just means holy. Okay. But there's a competing theory, which is nah. Because, words have meanings and definitions. And if you look up good in the dictionary, one of those meanings and definitions is not holy.
Yes.
So there's also a theory that the day was originally referred to as God's Friday, and that evolved to Good Friday. And that is my favorite theory because that is some BS I would come up with.
Oh, yeah. No, you see what happened was...
Not all theories are created equal.
No.
That theory was created on the day that God was resting.
Yes.
He didn't put a lot of effort into that one.
He's too stoned to care. He's like, good God, fine.
So I'm making jokes because honestly, I think I'm just fully traumatized by the fact that this was a real thing that happened, regardless of whether this event happened exactly the way it's been portrayed. This is a thing that happened to many people.
Yes.
It is just, I can't really come to terms with it.
No, I can't brain it either. I get wanting to kill people because some people suck, but you do it quick and you're done. You move on with your day.
I guess, if you're looking for real deterrent factor, back then, if I saw that happen, which everyone did,
right?
How were there still crimes? I guess I just don't understand. As a deterrent, that would be incredibly effective for me.
Oh, yeah. No, it would be efficient as balls. I'd be reaching for that bread I don't want a spear in my side. I'm good.
But that's the scary thing to me, or the sad thing to me, really, is that there were enough desperate, starving people that these things still happened. I don't know. Happy Easter, everyone.
Yay!
Bunnies and chocolate. We'll get to that eventually.
Yeah.
Stick it out.
Yeah.
Just stay with us.
Stick with us here.
Okay. Oh, God.
Nope, he's not here.
So on the morning after the Sabbath, this is Sunday morning, various women went to the tomb. Which women we're talking about depends on the gospel. Mark says it was Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and someone named Salome.
Sure.
Matthew says it was Mary Magdalene and, quote, the other Mary. Luke says Mary Magdalene. I don't know. There's a lot. There was definitely Mary Magdalene. She's in like everyone.
Okay.
And then various other Marys.
I love that one of them was just lazy as balls. The other Mary, the one with the one with the mole. The other Mary.
She must have been well known because he was like, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the other Mary, bro.
The Mary that always goes to the resurrections. It's that one.
That biche.
So whichever women showed up, the various Marys,
Yep.
they found the stone rolled away and the tomb was empty.
So he just pulled a runner after getting a spear in his side. And yeah.
I don't know that I would think resurrection. I would think tomb robbery.
Yes.
Was he wearing jewelry? That would be my first.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus was.
No, he wasn't much of a bling guy.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
So that's pretty much the story of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection.
Right.
And now we're going to get on to sort of how this became what we know as Easter.
Okay.
I had always believed something that I read online, and I think a lot of people made this mistake, that the word Easter was a bastardization of the word Ishtar, a Sumerian goddess of spring, rabbits, and terrible films.
Cool.
Have you seen Ishtar?
I've not.
Famously bad film. No?
No, never even heard of it.
Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, wow.
One of the biggest bombs of all time.
No, I've no.
Anyway, I've sort of been primed to believe this. I don't think this is our fault that we assumed that Easter was pagan because Christianity did this a lot.
Yeah.
That's kind of their MO.
I was just going to say, yeah, this is very much cry wolf. Like, if you do it that many times, we're going to assume you did it.
Oops, I stole pagan iconography again. It's very Britney Spears.
Steal my Easter one more time.
But in this case, the church didn't just steal a pagan holiday. In fact, most of the world does not call Easter Easter. So the Ishtar thing doesn't make sense anyway. Pretty much every other country uses some form of the Hebrew Pesach, which you might recognize from the word Passover.
Right.
So for instance, French has Pâques.
Sure.
That's not right. Italian has Pasqua. Spanish has Pasqua.
It's kind of close.
Same, but different.
Slightly different, sure.
They're spelled differently. Dutch has Pasen.
Pasen?
But English countries and Germany just have to be all unique and difficult.
Yeah.
And it's all because of one 8th century monk. So back in 725 AD, an English monk and historian, his name was the Venerable Bede, or Bede, B-E-D-E.
Yeah. No. Don't call me the bead, bro.
Call me Venerable, though. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I like
sweet.
venerable. Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
He wrote De Temporum Ration, The Reckoning of Time, a thrilling narrative about calculating dates based on ancient calendar math.
Ooh, my palms are sweating just thinking about it.
It's a real page turner. It's totally on my summer reading list. I'm going to read that right after an in-depth study of drying paint.
And flies fucking a la mode.
With ice cream?
Yes.
Oh.
Ice cream for everyone, all the time.
So in chapter 15 of this book, he claimed that the Anglo-Saxon month, roughly corresponding to April, had been called Eostermonth, which he claimed was named after a goddess called Eoster. There is absolutely no other evidence for this. All we have is a guy named Bede who supposedly is venerable.
Gotcha.
So the Ishtar thing is not real, and every other country is basing the name of Easter on the ancient Jewish Passover holiday, which does seem to be the actual source of the celebration. Okay, so when we think about Easter, we think about chocolate and bunnies, which, like I said, we'll get to. The other thing we think about is when the hell is it happening?
Okay.
Like, what is the date? And it's always very frustrating to me because it's very unpredictable.
Oh, really? It moves?
It does, yes.
I don't remember these things.
So I actually kind of love this story because it was super messy.
Okay.
So this big fight over when to celebrate Easter, it's called the Quartodeciman controversy. There were these rival factions of Christians. On one side, you had the Quartodecimans, who celebrated on the 14th of Nisan. That is the Passover date. And they did that regardless of the day of the week.
Okay.
So it could fall on a freaking Tuesday. It was chaos.
Okay.
And on the other side, you had the Sunday observers who insisted it must always happen on a Sunday because that was the day of resurrection.
Okay. Which makes a bit more sense to me. As long as we're going with goofy ass shit, sure. That makes more sense.
Yeah, except that's kind of like saying your birthday has to always fall on a Tuesday because you were born on a Tuesday. That's not 365 days multiplied by many years later. Do you see what I'm saying?
I guess. I just don't care.
You're like, moving on. Fair.
Yep.
So anyway, these Quartodecimans and the non whatever the other ones were, they were basically like two gangs. They're two rival gangs. These were the Bloods and Crips of Christian calendar warfare.
Sure.
And the compromise they came up with would be so convoluted and ridiculous that the process of calculating it was referred to as the computus, which is Latin for computation, and this became the root of the modern word computer.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay.
When you read about the history of Easter, and I do not recommend that you do, for exactly this reason, you will spend many, many minutes of your life learning about how the specific date of this movable feast is calculated, and you will hate your life and question all of your podcasting choices.
Fair enough.
Or maybe that's just me.
That's probably just you.
But trust me, it is mind-numbing.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you like the Cliff Notes version because that's all I could stand to absorb.
Okay.
I hate this part so much.
Okay. Let's get through it then. Let's go.
So Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon that occurs on or after the spring equinox.
I've already forgotten that sentence. That is too much.
It's really simple. Okay, I'll break it down for you.
Okay.
The seasons are created by the Earth tilting toward or away from the sun. You know that.
Yes.
And so the spring equinox is the precise moment when the sun is directly above the Earth's equator and the Earth's axis tilts neither toward nor away from the sun.
Cool.
It marks the arrival of spring.
Okay.
Except not exactly.
Except not every time.
Only if you are in the northern hemisphere. Otherwise, if you're in the southern hemisphere, this is the vernal equinox, and it does not mark the start of spring, all of that renewal and rebirth, but rather it's the beginning of autumn and the coming of darkness and cold and the death of crops and the lean season and such.
Gotcha.
So this is the spring/vernal equinox, and this occurs on March 21st.
Okay.
Except not necessarily.
Son of a bitch. You keep giving and then taking and giving and taking.
It gets complicated again because the church has decided that it's March 21st, but in fact, it can fall anywhere between March 19th and March 21st on the astronomical calendar. But let's forget that. Okay, back to...
Already have.
Okay. So let's pretend that it's always on March 21st.
Okay.
So we're starting with the spring/not spring equinox.
Right.
And then we're going to find the next full moon.
Okay.
Except wait, it gets complicated again.
It stayed complicated. It's not getting, it's been there.
Because what the church is referring to as the full moon is not always the actual astronomical one that happens when the moon is, full.
Okay.
It's an ecclesiastical approximation that is calculated using tables that were created before science was like... scientific.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay. So anyway, you start with the spring/vernal equinox.
Right.
Then find the next ecclesiastical full moon.
Okay.
And then find the Sunday after that, and that's Easter. Get it?
Nope. Not even a little bit. I feel like I would have my arms full of books at this point, and none of them I would know what to do with.
In fact, it's so complicated that the Eastern and Western churches still can't fully agree.
Okay.
As of 2025, the Julian and Gregorian calendars, they are 13 days out of sync. And that gap will continue to widen over time. So the result is that Orthodox Easter and Western Easter usually fall on different dates, usually with the Orthodox celebration occurring either 1, 4, or 5 weeks later.
Huh.
So the compromise they came up with really solved nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't seem like a compromise that worked.
I guess the Sunday people won because it's a Sunday either way.
Yeah.
But they did not come up with one time.
A unifying Sunday.
The one thing that all sides agree on, though, is that Easter is the end of Lent.
Okay.
You'll remember last time we talked about Lent. It's a 40-day period of fasting and repression that ends with Easter.
Gotcha.
I guess it kind of briefly ends with St. Patrick's Day, but then it starts up again.
Right.
St. Patrick's Day is the break.
Right.
And speaking of our St. Patrick's Day episode, guess who has something to tell us about the history of Lent?
Oh, no, not Seamus again. Fucking jackass.
Seamus O'Malley. No, I'm totally kidding.
Thank Jeebus. I don't need robot sprinkles. Not today, sir.
You're stuck with Shane O'Rogers.
That's fine. He's fine by me.
That's my Irish alter ego. That's what I go by on
Not
St. Patrick's
racist
Day.
at all.
That's how I introduce myself.
Shane O'Rogers, are you?
And then Irish people promptly punch me in the face.
Yes,
because
a lot.
That feels like mocking, and it is.
It is.
So what we didn't really cover in the last episode when we talked about Lent was what Lent is. So the 40 days actually commemorate Jesus's 40 days of fasting in the wilderness before he began his public ministry. Lent begins on Ash Wednesday and concludes at the Easter Triduum.
Sure.
Is it Triduum? You say that.
Triduum.
Triduum?
Triduum.
There's 2 U's.
One of us is the orator. The other one is an idiot. Who are you going to ask how to pronounce a word?
Anyway, those are the 3 days spanning Holy Thursday evening through Easter Sunday. Okay. No more talking about dates. That was enough of that.
Yeah.
So let's get into the fun part, the bunnies. Tell me about the bunnies.
Tell me about the bunnies.
All the listeners are just like, I came here for bunnies.
I was promised bunnies and chocolate. Give them to me now.
So obviously, the rabbit is an ancient symbol of fertility.
Yep.
Rabbits are some of the only animals that can be impregnated while already pregnant.
What?
That is how fertile a rabbit is.
Jesus.
This is a phenomenon called superfetation. They can get double pregnant.
Sounds like a punishment.
More pregnant than pregnant. It's a little-known white zombie version.
More pregnant than pregnant.
They can also engage in so-called rapid reconception. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
This is basically like within minutes of giving birth, they can bone.
Bro, what are these
Why
rabbit
would
men
you,
on?
Like, there are things you can do, but why would you?
Yes.
You know?
Yes. It's
That's my
very
question
much,
for
absolutely.
rabbits. Give it a rest.
Seriously. Literally. Give it a rest.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I consider myself a reasonably horny dude, or as I like to say, a dude.
Yes.
But that's not cool.
That's not nice.
Just give yourself and or your partner a little bit of a break.
Seriously. Give it a minute.
I'm kink shaming rabbits like a motherfucker.
Oh, dude, I'm right there beside you. No, rabbit, no.
And a motherfucker is exactly what's happening.
Exactly.
But the problem is that she's a very, very
Recent.
mother.
Yes.
People say fuck like rabbits, and I always thought that sounded kind of hot.
Until you found out and you fucked around.
Yeah, rabbits fuck weird. I don't like it.
Not a fan. Not a fan of rabbit fucking. Cool. Good to know.
Okay, so that's the rabbit iconography. It's all about renewal. Rabbits have been associated with spring forever. And that was Christian, pagan, whatever. It's always been a rabbit.
Rabbit.
But what about the eggs? So eggs are obviously consistent with the fertility and renewal themes, right?
Right.
But there's actually a more practical reason. So eggs were forbidden during Lent, along with all dairy and meat products, as we talked about last time.
Okay.
But as you might imagine, chickens, they're not really good with obeying calendar math. So by the time Easter Sunday rolled around, there was this massive surplus of eggs that had been building up that no one could eat.
Right.
So what happened actually was that the families would gather all these eggs and they were like, well, we got to hold on to them. But in order to preserve them, they would hard boil or pickle the eggs, and then they would dye those eggs special colors to distinguish them from the fresh eggs. And then when they broke their fast on Easter, they would eat the colored eggs first because those were the oldest ones. You got to get rid of them.
Right. I get it now.
So the Easter egg thing was not necessarily tied into the rebirth and renewal. It was really practical. It was a food storage solution.
Sure.
That turned into a painted egg orgy.
And that's cool. And it makes the egg hunt make a lot more sense because you got to find where you left them over that 40 days. You didn't fucking know the eggs everywhere. Fucking go get them.
And I didn't know this. Lent is also the reason that there was famously in Christian tradition. Are you familiar with Pancake Day?
No. What?
Shrove Tuesday or Pancake Tuesday occurs right before Lent. So this is when everyone tries to use up all of their eggs before the 40 days begins.
Okay.
40 days of egg abstinence.
So weird.
This is the pre-egg abstinence orgy, and then later followed by the post-egg abstinence orgy.
There's a whole lot of egg orgy going on here. I'm getting why it's fertility related.
It's very rabbit appropriate.
Yep.
Also, and I'm just throwing this in here for the hell of it.
Sure.
The Wednesday before Easter is called Spy Wednesday.
What?
This is a Judas thing. This is when Judas struck a bargain for those 30 pieces of silver, and he basically became a spy for that money.
So we celebrate James Bond on Spy Wednesday.
I'm not saying Christianity is weird.
No,
Duncan's saying that.
Yes, Duncan is saying Christianity is weird.
And since Duncan wants to go down the Christians are weird path.
Always.
This is fully Duncan.
Yep.
We're going to end with some weird random Easter celebrations from other countries.
Oh, goody.
So Norway celebrates Easter crime.
What?
Påskekrim. Norwegians read mystery novels and watch crime shows all during Easter week.
I love my Norwegian friends, but goddamn, that's weird.
We should do that in America.
Yeah.
You get 1 week.
Yeah.
Because I like true crime and stuff, but it's like there's no Easter limit anymore.
No, there should be, though.
Okay, moving on to France. In France, for Easter, they make a giant omelet.
Well, yeah.
About 10,000 people eat a giant Easter omelet made from 15,000 eggs.
Jesus.
In a place in France that I can't pronounce.
Sure.
If you really want to know, you'll look it up.
I do not.
The modern tradition, this began in 1973.
Okay.
So it's not that old.
No.
But it was inspired by a story about Napoleon, who enjoyed an omelet so much that he ordered the locals to make a massive one for his entire army.
Okay. So one short dude got mad and made some omelets. And you make omelets, and now we got to do it forever?
One omelet.
One omelet.
It
Giant
wouldn't-
omelet.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If they made an omelet for everyone, that wouldn't be that exciting. But what makes it interesting, it's like, when you go through the Midwest and they're like the largest ball of twine or whatever.
Right.
Like there are a lot of balls of twine in the world. That's not interesting. It's just this is the size thing.
Yeah, I got it.
One big omelet. They use the same amount of eggs. They made the same amount of omelet material. But when you smash it all together, that makes it interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is very American. It's bigger is better. France, go on with your American self.
I guess. You just make one big omelet and then everybody takes a chunk of it. Then you just made a bunch of omelets.
I get the logic, but I like the idea of gigantic omelet. You're going to have to learn how to cook that bitch just right.
What if you just made everyone an omelet and then they all poured their omelet together? Then do you have one big omelet?
No, you have a stack of omelets.
Or you have like a scramble?
Yeah, it's more of a scramble
more
or
of a scramble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Random ass digression there. Nice.
So Sweden and Finland, their big Easter thing is witches.
Okay.
Kids dress up as witches with broomsticks, and they go door to door trading decorated willow branches for chocolate eggs.
The Swedish are weird.
It's like they just want a second crack at Halloween or a pre-Halloween trial run.
Exactly. They're testing. They're doing Halloween stress testing.
I also don't like how limiting that is. Halloween, you're supposed to be able to choose a costume.
Right.
I don't want to have to be just a witch.
Yeah, it's very, very confined.
Very rigid.
Not into it. Besides, I don't look good in a black dress. It's not me. The hat I can rock, but not
I
the
do.
black dress.
Yeah, I didn't really look at is this mostly female or because they didn't say witch and warlock Easter.
Nope.
No, these
Witches.
are.
Yep.
I do think. Now I don't want to get into some kind of gender
Oh boy.
issue here.
This is going to be bad. I don't want to be racist, but this is going to be good.
Here's my problem. Like Harry Potter and everything, right?
Yeah.
The boys rode broomsticks too.
Yes.
Is the stick small enough so the one ball on each side? Because
You thought about this way too long, bro.
because this seems painful.
I mean, it is. Yeah. I played horsey when I was young, and I had one of those little broom horses, and you can catch it wrong.
Because it's not the same as riding on, for instance, a horse, where your legs are spread very wide, and your balls can lay flat on the horse.
Yeah.
They can't lay flat on a broom.
That is true.
This seems incredibly uncomfortable. Seems uncomfortable for women too.
Yeah.
They're being cleaved. I don't. Okay,
Oh, wow. You went there. That's good.
it's enough.
Yeah. Well done,
stopping.
Shane. Well done. Hit the brakes on that other one earlier.
So many questions about the broom is not a practical mode of travel, and then we tried to update it with Harry Potter, but they didn't. She didn't make any concessions for this. She didn't make a flatter, wider broom, a broom that has a saddle.
I mean, it's magic, bro. They're not doing biology.
Is that part of the magic?
Your balls just are cupped in a nice little magical sphere.
Is there a magical amount of levitation between your genitals and the broom? Was that ever addressed
We
in
have
Harry Potter?
questions, damn it.
This is my question.
Hard-hitting questions by Shane Rogers.
I never read the series.
Right.
And did you?
I
No.
did.
Was this ever brought up?
Nope.
Were there? Okay.
Yeah.
It should have been.
I agree. I never thought of it before, and clearly you spent half of last night.
I haven't thought about it until right now.
Okay.
And now I'm going to be thinking about it for the rest of the day.
Cool.
This is going to be a problem.
Jackass. Where do the balls go?
Okay, one more weird
Sure.
Easter tradition. We got to move away from
We
that.
do.
I'm getting uncomfortable.
You are twitching a little on your chair. How are your balls, bro?
So Corfu, the Greek island of Corfu. I've been there. It's
okay.
right off. It's not very far from Athens, actually. It's just a small ferry ride away. On Easter Saturday, why does it say Saturday? God damn it. Are they making this even more complicated?
Yep, they are. They did.
Damn it. It says on Easter Saturday,
Okay.
at 11 a.m. sharp, residents throw clay pots from their balconies. This is a tradition that dates all the way back to the 16th century to scare away evil spirits.
Oh, see, we've covered shit like this before, and you know that one motherfucker who forgets and like goes out for his newspaper in the morning is getting concussed.
Yeah, this is Easter Saturday brain damage.
Indeed.
This is...
Why does grandfather drool? He went out in the morning of Easter. Don't talk about it.
That will scare away the evil spirits.
And your brain needs.
And any tourists or anyone who happen to be just walking through town.
Yeah. What if you don't know? What if you're a Muslim and you're just walking through town and it's kalak?
That is actually kind of a fun one. I would like to take part. I would like to throw a bunch of stuff. When I was in Greece, they do have a thing where when you finish dinner, if you really enjoyed your dinner, and this is even at a restaurant, they'll take their plates, clay plates, and they throw them into the fireplace.
I cuts down on dish making, I guess.
does.
You don't got to do dishwashing?
Yeah, and they just add it up. They just tabulate it. They're like, oh, there's a plate, and they'll bring you more plates. Because they don't care. You're paying for them. They do have to clean them up, but, I'm sure they add in a little cleanup tax.
Yeah.
And so they're fine with that. They'll just keep bringing you plates. And it's pretty wild to see people be like, oh my God, that chicken was so
tasty.
amazing.
Check this shit.
I have to destroy something.
I have to break something about it. Yep.
It's like how people get aggressively like
With cuteness.
Yes. Like so fluffy. It's so tasty.
Must shatter.
Slam.
I don't want to go there now. We're going there. That's part of the heroin pack.
Oh,
we're
it's
gonna
really
go,
fun.
Yeah, we're going to go eat some chicken pasta and break some dishes.
You don't have to. I mean, we have plates, my friend.
No, but I don't want to break our shit. I want to break their shit.
Buy cheap plates.
I'm not cleaning up broken plates. Don't do that shit in the house.
I'm not cleaning it up. So maybe don't do that.
Yeah, I'm saying.
We have a cat. I don't
think that's going to work well for him.
He would be so confused
and pissed
and very upset.
Yes,
and might lose an eye. So I don't like. This
yeah, no, would ixnay on the plate pray.
Yeah, we're not doing the plate thing.
No. Besides, we aren't that good cooks.
I think if you made me dinner, I would want to break a plate.
Yeah, but not in a good way.
Before I'd finished the food.
Yeah.
One bite in.
What the fuck is?
One bite in, and it's going. Yeah, it's going in the fire.
Yep. We're gonna need a fire.
We need a fireplace.
Yeah, we don't have one.
There's so many problems with these plans. It's impractical.
Indeed.
This is the riding brooms of.
No, we're not starting this again, Shane. You said you were off the broom.
Okay, and I'm done.
Okay.
I'm so done.
You're so done. You're over it.
Never been more done.
Yeah.
We do have a new maniac, a menace, I believe.
Oh, lovely.
You're gonna love this.
Okay.
I'm excited for you on your behalf.
Oh, okay.
Nickel Dick.
Nice.
Nickel Dick just became a member. Thank you for doing that. That was for Duncan.
Oh,
I'm
bro.
sure.
So happy.
Seems to be a female insomniac too,
which is
based on the photo.
Okay.
There's a photo, and it's definitely a woman and a dog. And I hope she didn't name
the dog.
The dog
Nickel
doesn't
Dick.
get to name himself.
No. He didn't scratch in the ground, Nickel Dick.
But I also am very confused if it's her name, but I like it.
I'm for it. Yeah. Equal opportunity dick. Nice.
I feel like this was just to make us say this.
Oh, no, absolutely.
This was trolling.
Oh, and it's the highest chef's kiss trolling. I like it. Nickel Dick it is.
Excellent work. And definitely a UK person. The email indicates that. So
nice. Okay.
Well played.
Well played, Nickel
Brit.
Dick. Well played. Oh, boy.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to be changing up the call to action. It is as follows. We need to grow the show. It has been kind of stagnating. We love all of the attention that you guys get us, and we love doing the show, so we need more of it. You need to do two things for us, just two. Go tell a friend. I don't care if it's, bamboos under the fingernails, strapping down to a chair. You are listening to this. Tell a friend. And then go to the Patreon. Why do we struggle with that every time? Go to the Patreon, and even if it's $3, you don't need an extra coffee. You can help us do a show that you love, and we promise to be as uplifting as at least a single cup of coffee, if not 3. We promise. We swear to do this. So yeah, tell a friend, go to the Patreon, do those things. And then, as per usual, and forever after,
knowledge is power.
Sleep is overrated.